Concrete is the most abundant material used in the world. If you add up all the steel, aluminum, wood, and plastic, and you double that number, that is how much concrete is used. I use just a little bit of that concrete to make furniture. Now, I often have clients commission me to make a piece, and they'll come to my studio. And when they come in and they see my conference table for the first time, they always ask, what material is this? And they're always surprised when I tell them that it's concrete. It doesn't connect that the very material they're commissioning me for is what my conference table is made of. And the reason it doesn't connect is they did not come to me for concrete. They came to me for what I make with concrete. So it was this realization that's been the foundation of my success. Now, you may be asking yourself, how did this guy get into making furniture out of concrete? It seems like a strange material. And it is. So let me take you back to where it all began. When I was 17, I dropped out of high school. I went to work in the hotel industry, and by the time I was 21, I was the director of sales for 7 hotels. I made a great living. I probably made a better income then than I do today, but there was something missing. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I couldn't keep working in the hotel industry, so I quit my job. And I mountain biked every day. And every day I'd ride the same trail, and every day I'd take a break in the exact same place. And there was a water tower. I'd rest in the shade of the water tower. And right below this water tower was a beautiful house. The house was different than any other house I'd ever seen. And one night, I was at a bookstore, and I saw that house on the cover of a magazine. And it turns out it's the house of acclaimed architect Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones built this house using rammed earth. It was filled with sustainable finishes, including concrete sinks and countertops. And I bet you know where the story is going. That house changed my life. So I was 24, and all I could think about was sustainable construction. So I didn't know anything about concrete. And I Googled concrete countertops, and I found a guy in San Francisco named Buddy Rhodes. And I flew out to San Francisco, and I took a class, and this is a photo from that class. And believe it or not, that handsome young man on the right, that's me when I was younger. No beard, no tattoos. There's Buddy on the left, and some unknown guy in the middle, so I blurred his face. Everybody's been asking what that's about. So in 2004, I returned back to Phoenix, and I started my company. And at this point in time, there's really only 2 well-known companies that were making anything out of concrete. One was Buddy Rhodes, and the other was a company called Chang Concrete. And I loved the work of both Buddy and Chang, and I looked at their websites every day. Well, I had a client come to me about this time and ask me to design their kitchen countertops. So I came up with this great idea. It was going to be a red and gray island. There's a curved seam, there was a fossil inlay, there's a wavy drain board. I was extremely proud of this. So I showed the client, they loved it, I loved it, I made it, I installed it, and I took this photo, this actual photo, and I showed it to my then girlfriend, Erin. And I asked Erin, what do you think about this? And she said, well, it looks good, but it looks like Chang Concrete. What? I said to her. And she continued, you know when you're at a stoplight and you look in your rearview mirror and you see a Mercedes SUV pulling up, but then you look over and it's just a Kia? This is just a Kia. Yeah, she's always quick. So those were really cutting words to me. I was so proud of that piece. And we broke up. Literally, we broke up. And I left, and we never spoke again. So I went home that night, and the funny thing is, when I was thinking about what she'd said, I realized she was absolutely right. It did look like Chang. Now, I was too proud to ever tell her this, but it was really good advice for me. So I dedicated myself to not looking at anybody else's websites. And luckily, the internet wasn't what it is today. There wasn't Facebook or Instagram or design blogs. So it was a little bit easier at that point, but I still made it a point. I became a hermit. And I worked day and night. I toiled away in my studio. And over the years, I developed my own creative voice. And these are some of my pieces. And it's within this self-made vacuum, devoid of any outside influence, that I've realized my success. So to complete the story about Erin, we went about 10 years without speaking. We lived in the same town. We never ran into each other. And one night I was out and I saw her sister, and I said, hey, have Erin give me a call. Here's my number. So she gave me a call, and we went on a date, and we went on another date. And then we went and we took some old-timey photos. And I proposed. We got engaged. Now, I'd like to say that I've spent the last 35,000 hours becoming a master craftsman of concrete. And that's kind of what I tell myself. But the truth of the matter is, I've spent 35,000 hours developing my creative voice. The only way to have original thought is to disconnect from the grid. And what I see today is young designers are so consumed by media, it's like flypaper, and they get stuck in the current trends. They get consumed by the latest and greatest. And so my message to them is the only way to have success is to be original. Now, some people will say originality doesn't exist. That is not true. It does exist. It takes a lot of work. It takes dedication, and it takes failure. But it is possible. And this is what I now teach others to do. I tell people, design by disconnecting. Remove yourself from the grid. Bike, hike, meditate. At some point, you'll tap into that part of your subconscious that's infinite. Ideas will flow like water, and original design is born. That's been the root of my success, and that's the root of success in a creative world. Thank you.